Subscribe to the Mystic Vibration Shock of the Hour program today and receive our nightly show immediately after each and every broadcast. This will be done via the email and will be found in your inbox. For the small price of only 50 United States dollars, you will receive almost 20 hours of raw information, knowledge, research, and scholarship on various subject areas and topics that are necessary to be addressed at this time. In addition, all subscribers will receive our monthly video lecture series, which has a value of 20 United States dollars. They will receive the video lecture for free that is related to the month that they are subscribing for. To subscribe, call or WhatsApp 1268-728-3162 or email priestisaac27@gmail.com. The Mystic Vibration is a program that is every Monday to Thursday at 6 p.m. sharp Eastern Caribbean time on Radio Anu, radioanu.com. Alafia to each and every one. Salamta and blessed love. Honorable Priest Isaac here. It is with great joy that I am happy to announce to you that I have officially released my first ebook, Anu Ancient and Modern Revisited. This is the continuation process of our easy-to-read books. Within the pages of Anu Ancient and Modern Revisited, we take the time to show you the spiritual connection with the island of Antigua and Heliopolis in Kemet in Egypt, with the island of Antigua and the legendary continent of Atlantis. We also highlight Green Castle Hill, also known as Mount Anu, which is known as the Stonehenge of the Caribbean, with the countless of megaliths that align with the movement of the heavens. This is a must-read for all those who are students of the esoteric realms, astronomy, geology, and ancient sites. Of course, to get a copy of your book, all you have to do is to contact us at area code 1268-728-3162. Call, text, or even WhatsApp. Or you can email us at priestisaac27@gmail.com to get a copy of your ebook, Anu Ancient and Modern. It is an easy to read book, may appear light, but it is extremely heavy. Yes, it does. Give thanks. Definitely give thanks now. As we're into the shock of the hour. Once again, blessed love, give thanks for your presence with us. Of course, you know this is Radio Anu, radioanu.com. This being the international flavor, the universal spice. Very thankful for your presence with us, even at this moment, as we go into the shock of the hour. And this evening, we'll be going into the continuation, I would say, of a subject area that we began speaking of in the previous strong, as we were talking about the whole extermination of the black family in general. Remember also, we were highlighting the whole abortion aspect, and we would like to take this program to focus in and make it the subject itself. The whole aspect of abortion, obviously, amongst the black nation specifically,
And there's much more than meets the eye. And what I was saying even in that program, that I personally did not really understand that it is so many of our sisters that have taken at least one abortion in their lifetime. The stats may be different in other places because, yeah, I mean, it happens around here a lot, but not to the case where it's almost everyone. And I mean, trust me, it happens a lot. But as I said, one friend was telling me that it's almost impossible, extremely hard then, to know someone that hasn't gone through that. Okay, well, there you go. So what I want to do, I want to go into that this evening, and we're going to be touching upon it, definitely, my brothers and sisters, on different levels. You know, we want to talk about it for sure on the spiritual aspect, which I was really going into that previous time we touched upon this subject. We're going to go into it on the medical aspect. We're going to go into it on the eugenics aspect. And, you know, we're going to go into it on the heart-to-heart aspect. Now, what I'm going to begin with is I don't know what you would want to call it, but it's like a rendition, reenaction of, well, a reenaction of what you would think that a child in the womb would be saying. Now, this may be a bit graphic to some. I mean, you may not be seeing it. It's nothing really to see, but just listening to it, you could obviously draw pictures, so it would still become graphic. It may, I'm just telling you, giving you a warning, it may be something that, you know, if you're eating or whatever, you may not really want to hear at that time. Now, believe me, it's information. It's not nothing wrong that I'll be portraying to you. It's something that I came across and I found it quite interesting. As I say, it's like a reenaction. And the voice now, it's the voice of a young little girl they use, obviously. But what she's portraying in the womb, the fetus developing, you know, showing you that she's developing her heart and she's developing her brain and she's beginning to keep memory and she can hear mommy speaking and she's going to be saying all of this. And then eventually she's going to be aborted. And I think eventually she ends up in the hands of the Lord. But what I'm saying now, as I said, it would come across a bit graphic to some, so I'm just putting it out to you. And the fact that it is a reenactment, to many it may even come across as something, a mockery or whatever. But what I think it does, and the reason why I'm bringing it, is because I think it touches the heartstring that is very necessary to be touched for many of us to understand that this is murder. This is murder, homicide, on a level beyond any other that exists even amongst us. So I'm going to begin with this. Brace yourself, depending on where your mind is. So it begins at 1 month.
Hi, Mommy. Let me introduce myself. I'm 3, 4, 7 inch long. I have all of my organs, and my heart started beating today. I am alive.
1
I
month.
love the feeling of your heartbeat. Every beat wants to make me dance and lift my arms hind legs. I like it here inside you.
2 months.
Mommy, today I learned to tuck my bum. If you can see me, you can definitely tell that I was a baby. I'm very cute. I'm not big enough to survive outside my home. That's okay. I feel safe in here.
So it's nice and warm. So it's saying that from month 1, month 2, my heart is beating and my organs are beginning to develop. And mommy, today, month 2 now, I began to suck my thumb. I'm not big enough to live outside of my home, which is the womb, but you know, it's okay because it's nice and warm in here. Okay.
So nice and warm. I may decide never to leave. I look forward to our first hug.
Month 3, and I look forward to our first hug. Nice.
You know what, Mommy? I'm a girl.
What?
I hope that makes you happy. I always want to make you happy. I started hearing today. You sound so sad. I don't like it when you're sad. It makes me sad too.
So hold on. I started to hear today, and it made me so sad. I don't like it when you're sad. You know, I cried even though you can't hear me. No, this is not a joke. This is where I said, this is why I believe to some it may sound not just as playing with emotions, but mockery. But no, it's not. It is to touch the heartstring. This is reality. Straight up, it is reality. I started to hear today. I mean, it's reality. You sound so sad. I cry with you even though you can't hear me.
For you, even though you can't hear me. To cheer you up today, I have to share a secret with you. My favorite lullaby is the sound of your heartbeat. I know it's mushy, but I look forward to holding your hand. I love you.
Month 4.
Mommy, my hair is starting to grow.
He is starting to
It's
grow.
very short and fine. I'll have a lot of it. I spend a lot of time exercising. I can move my head
Yeah.
and wiggle my fingers and wiggle my toes.
Yeah.
I stretch my arms and legs. My favorite is the kick and slide back to the bottom.
Yeah,
I
break.
really enjoy kissing your cheek right now.
Month
You went to
5.
the doctor today. He lied to you.
Huh?
He called me a blob of cells.
Month 4, you know. It's 4. You went to the doctor today. He lied to you. He called me a blob of cells and said I was not a baby. I'm alive.
He said I was not a baby. I am alive. I am a baby. Mommy, you're a baby. I think and feel. Mommy, what is an abortion? It doesn't matter. We're having too much fun. This journey will never end. I'm the pea on your pod. I'll imagine seeing your face in my dreams tonight.
Yes.
Sleep tight.
Enjoy. Month 6 now.
I can hear the doctor again. I don't like him.
You don't like
He
it?
seems cold and heartless.
You think so?
He definitely doesn't have your sense of humor.
Okay.
That's new.
Listen to this.
What is that? Something is poking into my home. The doctor calls it a needle.
What was that? something is poking into my home. The doctor calls it a needle.
Mommy, what is that? It burns.
It
Please
burns.
make him stop.
Please make him
I
stop.
can't get away from it. It hurts.
It's hurt. I
Mommy,
can't.
don't you want me? Please help me.
Yeah.
The man in the bright clothes told me about abortion.
Now this is after the this is after the abortion now. The baby done, the baby dead. Baby dead. The man in the bright clothes told me about abortion.
You want me, Mommy?
Why didn't you want me, mommy? The man in the bright clothes. So she's in the hand of the Lord now. I'm not gonna go no more with that. You got the point. Now I know, as I said, I mean, it is such a serious subject area that, again, it might sound like might sound like we may be playing with it. All right, let's hear it from the horse's mouth now. Carol Everett, former independent abortion clinic owner, and tell me if we're playing with it.
We had a whole plan that sold abortions, and it was called sex education. Break down their natural modesty, separate them from their parents and their values, and become the sex expert in their life so they turn to us when we would give them a low-dose birth control pill they would get pregnant on, or a defective condom, because we didn't buy the most expensive condoms. We bought the cheapest condoms. Our goal was 3 to 5 abortions from every girl between the ages of 13 and 18. We gave them a low-dose birth control pill that, in order to provide any level of activity, had to be taken at the same time every single day. The girl wouldn't take it accurately, and if you miss that thing, the protection is out of her system. The sexual activity goes from 0 or once a week to 5 to 7 times a week. She doesn't take the pill properly. She gets pregnant. And who does she call when she's pregnant? She calls us. We're the experts. And we were ready. We used a script designed to overcome every single objection. That's what sales is. Overcome the objection and you get the order. In this case, the abort.
Sales, you know. That's what sales is. That's what she's saying, sales. We have all the scripts. We know what to say to let her buy into. That's the key thing. It's all a plot. So we begin by giving them degenerate pills that are sure to make you pregnant. Carol Everett, we gave them the cheapest of condoms, you know, high percentage rate that they will get pregnant, and they will come to us, and it's business. It's buy and sell, and you know, this is what we're selling. This is our service, and you buy it, and here we go. Let's go. And they have all the trick in the books. This is what she's saying. An independent abortion owner, you know, man. And they have loads of these people that are coming out now that are telling their story, telling you how many people they murdered and how many people they done kill already live. Let's continue to listen.
Abortion. And when she calls, the first question is reassure. And so the girl confesses, I think I may be pregnant. And the counselor, who's really a telemarketer, that's all they're trained to do, sell over the telephone, but we call them counselors, says, we can take care of your problem. No one needs to know.
What?
And then the first question, what's the first day of your last normal period? And she gives this so-called counselor the date, and she says you're 8 weeks pregnant. She didn't say you might be 8 weeks pregnant. She didn't say you could be. She said you are 8 weeks pregnant. So she has planted the first seed in this long marketing thread. And the sad thing is, in this girl's mind, she is the expert. This is the pregnancy expert. And the next question is this good news or bad news? If it were good news, she would not be calling an abortion clinic. It's bad news. And when she replies bad news, this counselor moves right in, because now she wants to identify the fear, to use it to reaffirm that abortion decision anytime that girl moves away. And if she says, well, maybe I need to think about this, your parents will
give me one more night, you know.
kill you, you'll have to miss drill team, the abortion's up. Now, abortions are done through all 9 months of pregnancy, not because of
No,
really...
I don't believe you. Nothing goes on. The abortions are done through all 9 months of pregnancy.
way, but because of Dobie Bolton that said for the health of the mother, an abortion can be completed through all 9 months of pregnancy. But the problem was that health was defined as mental health. And we would say to this scared young woman, you would have problems with this pregnancy should you carry it to term, wouldn't you? She'd say yes, and we'd chart it emotionally.
While these lawyers were calling for the right of choice for women, where's the choice when only one option is offered? That's an essential fallacy in the woman's so-called right to choose. In most cases, it's not a choice at all. A decision is reached without all the facts or based on misinformation. Other options are not presented, and a deadly course of action is forced on a woman.
We have to talk about something that uses lies, coercion.
The number one slogan for abortion is pro-choice. And the ironic thing about that slogan is that when you ask women who had abortions, why did you have that abortion? The number one response is, I felt that I had no choice. A majority, maybe upwards of 80% of abortions in America happen with some form of coercion. In other words, not the woman's choice.
I had this one lady that called me one afternoon, and she said that she wanted to make an appointment for her daughter to come in and have an abortion. I said, does she want to have the abortion? Well, you know, it's not her choice.
So I went to a counselor, a Christian counselor. She kept saying I needed to have an abortion and that this was not a good thing for me to do and it wasn't going to be good for my kids. Then I told my fiance, then I told my mother, then I told my other family members. All of a sudden, everybody's like, you can't do this, you can't do this, you don't want to do this is not good for the kids, this is not good for you, this is not good for our marriage, I don't want to raise this child.
Would have been somebody who would have changed the dynamic of our family. And the relationships that they would have created would have changed everyone that they interacted with. But they're not here.
In abortion, it's not about choice, it's about despair. It's not about people who are getting abortions because of freedom of choice. It's about people getting abortions because they feel they have no freedom and no choice.
Through conversations with him pushing the abortion, and then that kind of frustrated me at some point. I just felt like he didn't care about me, that he was just thinking about, like, let's fix this. That's exactly his words. We need to fix this.
That I was in fear and in crisis, and at that point that I felt like I had no choice.
Women are the victims. In a lot of these cases, women are coerced and in crisis mode and regret the decision that they've made.
Women feel threatened that if they don't have an abortion, their lives will be punished for it. The stories of the boyfriend saying, I'll give you the $300 and our relationship will continue if you have the abortion. If you choose to keep the baby, there's the door.
I was dating a young man, and we got pregnant. And the first words out of his mouth to me were, "You're not having it, are you?" And I remember that sinking feeling in my heart, and I thought, well, no, I guess not. And I felt so much pressure.
Absolutely do not think that my choice was a choice. I think it was, like I said before, I think it felt like an ultimatum.
They're all screaming at me. It felt like they were screaming at me. They were constantly insisting, you've got to kill him, you've got to abort him, you can't do this, you've got to go to the clinic, you've got to hurry up. Every week that you wait is making it worse. Go, 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 go. And I finally couldn't take all of their pressure and how supposedly I'm going to make everybody's life miserable. It was relentless. It's like I couldn't even go through the day without hearing them, whether they were actually speaking to me or I'm just remembering something they said to me a couple of hours ago. I mean, they just bombarded me with it. So I guess I have to bear this burden so that everybody else can.
But I went in toward the end and I'd never seen that much blood. I mean, just blood everywhere. And we put her in the recovery room and she just filled the bed. And we changed the bed a couple of times and her blood pressure was erratic. And the doctor left. I was really worried about her and I tried to call him. And her boyfriend kept wanting to go home and her blood pressure stabilized a little bit. But I just didn't believe she was, it's just like that feeling you have.
No, this is a specific event that took place. This is the very same Carol Everett. I wanted to hear this story properly.
Women are seldom told the full story of what they're getting into when they authorize an abortionist to kill the baby inside of them.
Listen to this.
Even if the known consequences and after effects like breast cancer, barrenness, and other female trauma, even if it only impacts half the women or a quarter of the women, wouldn't it be better to let them know what they might suffer from their choice? Wouldn't it still be wise to let them know every potential risk? The government mandates warnings on every other potential danger. Every pack of cigarettes, every alcoholic beverage, every package of medication carries a warning of potential health risk.
Imagine.
Why not a warning on something so life-changing, so life-threatening as an abortion?
Imagine that.
There's a lot of evidence of physical and psychological consequences. Then there was a big study out of New Zealand about 2 years ago that showed long-term consequences.
Abortion can have long-term consequences on the woman in terms of affecting her fertility.
Many women become infertile. They suffer from other problems with their female organs and end up having to have complete hysterectomies, never able to conceive or have other children. One of our ladies, the power of the suction machine from the abortion was so severe that it caused her fallopian tubes to collapse and she was never able.
I wasn't in for all of that abortion. Somebody else was in there with him. But I went in toward the end and I'd never seen that much blood. I mean, you know, just blood everywhere. And we put her in the recovery room and she just filled the bed. And we changed the bed a couple of times and her blood pressure was erratic. And the doctor left. I was really worried about her and I tried to call him. And her boyfriend kept wanting to go home and her blood pressure stabilized a little bit, but I just didn't believe she was, you know, it's just like that feeling you have that she's not right. Well, at 10 o'clock, the boyfriend said, look, if there's anything happens, I'll call you immediately. And at 4:30, he called the doctor and he didn't take the history and he said, put her in a tub of hot water. And when he did, the last little bit of blood in her body ran out. And he called me about 6 and said, she's dead. And he immediately started telling me how he was going to do the cover-up. And somehow it all worked out and the autopsy didn't show anything and no charges were filed and nothing happened. The newspapers didn't call, nobody came. We killed that woman and did abortions the next morning. The families are so hurt by what's happened and shamed that their daughter had this abortion and died from it or whatever. They don't come forward. We had one girl, 22 years old, a model, who danced in, jumped up on the table, laughed at the doctor that she didn't wear underwear. She was 22 weeks pregnant. We put her on the table. Now, there's a maneuver called the Hansen's maneuver.
Listen.
Now, the doctor may do it himself or someone may do it, but I did it for the big baby, 2 of our big baby abortions. I held the babies and you say the head's here, the feet are here, the buttocks are here.
Listen.
And you gently push the baby down into the instruments. And the first time this doctor went in, he pulled out omentum. That's the lining to the intestines.
Listen.
He literally perforated her uterus and was pulling her bowel out her uterus with the very first time he went in with the instruments. And the second time he went in, he pulled out her bowel and he pushed it back in. Live baby. Woke the woman up, put her in my car because it's terrible, terrible advertisement to think about having an ambulance in front of an abortion clinic. You just don't want it. So we put her in my car, and we didn't take her to the hospital nearest us. We didn't take her to the hospital that would take the best care of her. We took her across town to a hospital that would help us cover up what we'd done. And this surgeon has taken this girl who has a perfectly complete baby inside her with her bowel pulled out her vagina upstairs to the operating room. 7 doctors operated on that baby, on that girl. They had to do a colostomy to resection her bowel to empty into this bag. They pulled the baby out. He rolled it into the disposable drapes and put it into the incinerator at the hospital. All 7 of those doctors falsified the records. We killed that baby that way. The doctors falsified the records. We told that girl she had an abdominal pregnancy. They have worked very hard to learn how to get Medicaid funds, and they want to increase their tax funding to $700 million a year. Abortion is a skillfully marketed product sold to a very frightened person in crisis. They buy that product expecting a fix and find it's defective. So we put a clinic out on 30. It paid for itself in the first month. It was a profit center. And we were well on the way to opening more clinics. As a matter of fact, our plan was to open 3 abortion clinics in 1983 so I could be a millionaire in 1984. You know, they came in for 2 or 3 hours and wanted to do 20 abortions or 30 abortions and make their money and go away. They didn't care if the instruments weren't clean, and they didn't care if the instruments weren't cool. They just wanted to get their money and get through the day and go. There was a receipt on the chart. They would collect them, bring them up at the front at the end of the day. We would balance them, pay them in cash, no 1099, no W-2. But I'm certain people killing babies for a living probably reported it to IRS, don't you think? We knew how many people, how many calls they got, and what their percentage of completion was. And there.
Now, can you imagine this? What I'm going to do now, I'm not even wasting any time. I'm going to go to an interview that some of you, I'm sure, have seen. This is an interview with Mike Wallace back in the 60s, 50s, whenever it was. Mike Wallace. And he'll be interviewing Margaret Sanger. And Margaret Sanger is basically considered the mother of Planned Parenthood, and you know, that whole aspect of the next branch of eugenics, basically. So we're going to hear a bit of this interview, and then I'm going to be going to an interesting clip put together that highlighted 21 of her specific Margaret Sanger's quotes, which if you don't know of her, well, let me just leave it at that. Let's go straight to the interview with Mike Wallace.
And now to our story. When Mrs. Margaret Sanger opened the first birth control clinic in the United States back in 1916, birth control was a dirty word. The police threw her into jail, as they were to do 7 more times during her crusade, a crusade that still faces the reasoning but unalterable opposition of the Roman Catholic Church.
So she opened the first birth control clinic in 1916. Interesting.
It kept Mrs. Sanger away from her children for long periods. It helped to break up her first marriage, and she suffered constant, harrowing social abuse. Mrs. Sanger, in view of all of that, let me ask you this first of all. Why did you do it? I realize that you had an intellectual conviction that birth control was a boon to mankind, but I'm sure that others have that conviction too. And so what I'd like to know is this: what events, what emotions in your life made Margaret Sanger a crusader for birth control?
Well, Mr. Wallace, it's hard to say with any one thing. has made one do this or that. I think from the very beginning, I came in a large family. My mother died young, 11 children. That made an impression on me as a child. I was a trained nurse, went among the people. I saw women who asked to have some means whereby they wouldn't have to have another pregnancy too early after the last abortion, which many of them had. So there's a number of things that are one after the other that really made you feel that you had to do something.
There are some other possible reasons that suggest themselves on reading your biography by Lawrence later.
Listen.
Your mother, as you say, died prematurely after bearing 11 children. She was born a Catholic, was she not?
She was born a Catholic, yes.
And your father was a sort of a village atheist who clashed with church authorities. And because of his atheism, his earnings dwindled under community pressure. You and your brothers and sisters were known as, quote, children of the devil. And
you hear that? So she and her siblings were referred to as children of the devil. That was a quote, by the way, from her. Okay, yeah.
Quote. Could it be then that in part at least you were driven emotionally toward the birth control movement because of antagonism toward the church, because that was a way to fight the church?
No, I don't think I had anything of the kind in mind. I was what I would call a born humanitarian.
Yeah.
I don't like to see people suffer. I don't like to see cruelty, even to this day. And in nursing, you see a great deal of cruelty and unnecessary suffering. At that time, there was no opposition as far as the church was concerned. Any church. It was mainly the law, the federal law, and the state laws that one had to think of. The church was not in my mind at all.
Well, in going after your motive, then, and I will press you just a little bit more about that and then get to the specifics of this evening, but in your motive, in the movement, is it possible that the movement itself, the feeling of wanting to do anything that you felt was important, that perhaps that moved you a good deal? Because the fact remains that you led a movement against overwhelming pressures that stemmed back for centuries, and in doing so, according to your autobiography, you even left your first husband. And you wrote this to a friend, Mrs. Sanger. You said, "Where is the man to give me what the movement gives in joy and interest and freedom?" Now, what was this joy, this freedom that you craved?
Well, I don't remember that letter, when it was written, but I think that it was not a question of marriage at all. There was a certain satisfaction in doing something that was going to alleviate the sufferings of women in particular, and I was quite a feminist at the time. And yes, and I naturally didn't want to see women take all the suffering of childbearing and of pregnancies. So it was a pleasure in a sense to think that you were striking at an archaic law, which it was, put it on the statute books by Anthony Comstock some years ago, and no one had stood up against it. No one had tried to change the laws. And at that time, not even a doctor had a right to use the United States mails and common carriers for books, for learning, for anything that he had to do with this question. It was considered obscene. The whole question was considered obscene.
Mrs. Sanger, you have helped to spread the birth control movement not only here in the United States, but in Europe and the Orient as well. Why? Why is birth control of such vital importance internationally? Is it just to save women suffering? Is that the only reason in your mind?
Well, not entirely. The population question is a great concern today.
Wow.
And the rate at which the births coming in to we're saving them now. At one time, when children died, they didn't have the food. Today, our population all over the world is getting certainly better consideration and better conditions than they had at the time that I was there. I went to every country because I was invited. And I didn't go into the country myself. I was invited to go to Japan and to speak there, have 8 lectures on the question of birth control and peace.
Well, do you believe that birth control is essential if we want to keep millions of people across the world from starving? Is that your thesis?
Say it again.
Do you feel that birth control is essential to keep millions of people across the world from starving?
Well, I think the birth control will to keep the population more or less static until you pick up your resources. Certainly you'll prevent their starving.
But what's more important, birth control or picking up the resources?
Well, picking up the resources, there's just a limit to that, too. There's just so much. Take Japan. And she cannot feed. They've had the best experts come there when MacArthur was there. And the best experts have said they have 20 million more people than they can feed. She's got to be fed outside. And in some way, she's got to have that kind of help if she's going to keep from fighting.
But certainly around the world.
All right, hold on, Mike Wallace. Let's move on here. You know, time is different than your time. Now, let us check this out now. This one is coming from TFP Student Action, and they're giving you 21 quotes by Margaret Sanger. Let's go through this with them. That's the advice.
Abortion, save illegal! And what is wrong with Margaret Sanger?
She said that the most merciful thing that a family could do to one of its young is to kill it.
Well, I'm sure that was taken out of context.
In this video, I'm going to show you who Margaret Sanger really was and why she founded Planned Parenthood. These 21 quotes by Margaret Sanger reveal the wicked roots of the abortion movement and expose the twisted mindset behind the present-day culture of death. In her own words, Sanger peddles racism, eugenics, contraception, and abortion, while demonstrating a visceral hatred for children, parenthood, marriage, and the Catholic Church.
You sure about
Every
that?
quote I'm about to give you has been verified and is well documented.
All right, let's see.
But from my view, I believe that there should be no more babies.
But from my view, come on, you believe that she said that? You believe that she really said that? But from my view, I believe that there should be no more babies. Well, I mean, in the interview she just gave that we heard, she did say the population of the world was really of concern to her. She made it clear. But for my view, I believe that there should be no more babies. Full stop. Come on. Interview with John Pearson in 1947. That's where that quote comes from.
The most merciful thing that the large family does to one of its infant members is to kill it.
Oh man, that's what the woman at the beginning was saying. You have to have taken that out of context. I mean, come on. The most merciful thing that the large family does to one of its infant members is to kill it. Come on, where you get that from? Woman and the New Race, Chapter 5. The Wickedness of Creating Large Families, published in 1920.
We don't want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population.
I mean, no, you're just down old racist now. Oh no, you're just prejudiced. Come on. We don't want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. Trust me. Even without all of these references, this specific one, I'm positive. But this is the letter to Clarence J. Gamble, December 10th, 1939, page 2.
I accepted an invitation to talk to the women's branch of the Ku Klux Klan. I was escorted to the platform, was introduced, and began to speak. In the end, through simple illustrations, I believed I had accomplished my purpose. A dozen invitations to speak to similar groups were proffered.
In the end, through simple illustrations, I believed I had accomplished my purpose to speak to the Ku Klux Klan. A dozen invitations to speak to similar groups. Similar to what? To what? To who? the Ku Klux Klan were preferred. Margaret Sanger, listen to this, an autobiography published in 1938, page 366.
Do you believe there is such a thing as sin?
I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world that have disease from their parents, that have no chance in the world.
No, tell me. No, I mean, come on.
Delinquent.
This is the same interview that we were just, scoping a moment ago. I think the greatest thing in the world is to bring children into the world. I mean, if you were typing this, there would be a full stop after the world, But then it sounds as if, the second the world, bringing children into the world. I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world. I gotta stop saying these things, You see, it's not good to be repeating them foolishness, It's energy and vibration and frequency. But anyway, just listen how she answers while it's there.
Do you believe there is such a thing as sin?
I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world
Full stop.
that have disease from their parents, that have no chance in the world to be a human being, practically. Delinquents,
give me a
prisoners,
break.
all sorts of things just marked when they're born. That to me is the greatest sin.
Vomit.
People can commit.
Demons, brother.
The most serious evil of our times
Yes.
is that of encouraging the bringing into the world of large families. The most immoral practice of the day is breeding too many children. Eugenics without birth control seems to us a house builded upon the sands. It is at the mercy of the rising stream of the unfit. As an advocate of birth control, I wish to take advantage of the present opportunity to point out that the unbalance between the birth rate of the unfit and the fit, admittedly the greatest present menace to civilization, can never be rectified by the inauguration of a cradle competition between these two classes. The most urgent problem today is how to limit and discourage the overfertility of the mentally and physically defective. No more children should be born when the parents, though healthy themselves, find that their children are physically or mentally defective.
Sure.
A marriage license shall in itself give husband and wife only the right to a common household and not the right to parenthood.
Now hold on, as you see, he was going through many words. I just didn't want to keep stopping it. But this one, because of the level of this one, I just want to cite the source. This is Margaret Sanger, America Needs a Code for Babies, Article 3, 27th of March, 1934. Everything he said has its citation, has its source, I should say, but we just want to move on.
No woman shall have the legal right to bear a child, and no man shall have the right to become.
Alafia to each and every one. Salamta and blessed love. Honorable Priest Isaac here. It is with great joy that I am happy to announce to you that I have officially released my first ebook, Anno Ancient and Modern Revisited. This is the continuation process of our easy-to-read books. Within the pages of Anno Ancient and Modern Revisited, we take the time to show you the spiritual connection with the island of Antigua and Heliopolis in Kemet in Egypt, with the island of Antigua and the legendary continent of Atlantis. We also highlight Green Castle Hill, also known as Mount Anu, which is known as the Stonehenge of the Caribbean, with the countless of megaliths that align with the movement of the heavens. This is a must-read for all those who are students of the esoteric realms, astronomy, geology, and ancient sites. Of course, to get a copy of your book, all you have to do is to contact us at area code 1268-728-3162. Call, text, or even WhatsApp. Or you can email us at priestisaac27@gmail.com to get a copy of your ebook and Ancient and Modern. It is an easy to read book, may appear light, but it is extremely heavy. Blessed God.
A father without a permit for parenthood.
Tell you.
Permits for parenthood shall be issued upon for parenthood.
I think we should share this one with the listeners, man. This is Margaret Sanger now, as her quote. America needs a code for babies, Article 4, March 24th, again, 1934.
Permits for parenthood shall be issued upon application by city, county, or state authorities to married couples, providing they are financially able to support the expected child, have the qualifications needed for proper rearing of the child, have no transmissible diseases, and, on the woman's part, no medical indication that the maternity is likely to result in death or permanent injury to health.
Okay.
No permit for parenthood shall be valid for more than one birth.
Wow.
Apply a stern and rigid policy of sterilization and segregation to that grade of population whose progeny is tainted, or whose inheritance is such that objectionable traits may be transmitted to offspring. These two words, birth control, sum up our whole philosophy. It means the release and cultivation of the better elements in our society, and the gradual suppression, elimination, and eventual extinction of defective stocks, those human weeds which threaten the blooming of the finest flowers of American civilization.
This one, hold on there, brother, man, take your time, man, it's my show now. This one came from Margaret Sanger now. Highlights in the history of birth control, October 1923.
Of American civilization.
Yeah, you said that already. Wow, listen.
Organized charity itself is the symptom of a malignant social disease. My own position is that the Catholic doctrine is illogical,
Me too.
not in accord with science, and definitely against social welfare and race improvement. All of our problems are the result of overbreeding among the working class. Knowledge of birth control is essentially moral. Its general, though prudent practice must lead to a higher individuality and ultimately to a cleaner race. Feeble-mindedness perpetuates itself from the ranks of those who are blandly indifferent to their racial responsibilities. And it is largely this type of humanity we are now drawing upon to populate our world for the generations to come. In this orgy of multiplying and replenishing the earth, this type is pari passu multiplying and perpetuating those direst evils in which we must, if civilization is to survive, extirpate by the very roots.
Let me make him.
Birth control itself, often denounced as a violation of natural law, is nothing more or less than the facilitation of the process of weeding out the unfit, of preventing the birth of defectives or of those who will become defectives. If we are to make racial progress, this development of womanhood must precede motherhood in every individual woman.
Woman and the New Race, 1920. No, I mean, this is a real maniac here. I don't care what nobody has to say. I mean, this is a real maniac. It could be related to her. I mean, well, that's, yeah. But talk about real psychopath, well-troubled. 666,000 demons beating you day and night, man. Wow, what evil words. So now, taking all what we just went through into consideration now, we're living in a society. Let's bring it home now. So we covered all of this. This is just the academics in a sense, you know. Let's wrap now. You know, that was just, let's just say we were in class. We were getting a lecture now. This ain't the lecture. We wrapping here. You know, so you got the facts now. You got the statistics. You know, so let's talk now. What I'm saying here, cracking my knuckles there. We live in a society where this is the norm. You know, and we have to think about how does this happen now. Now, obviously, for you to get an abortion, you gotta get pregnant. How do people get pregnant? Well, obviously, we know how people get pregnant. I mean, sexual intercourse, as it is referred to as, copulation, mating, as such. You know, but how did that happen now? I mean, let's get to the details. What's going on there? What's the sex education, you know, within the curriculum? How is that going? I know we never got none of that. I don't know about you, but we never got no sex education. Sex education was Playboy and Hustler. What's wrong? I know when you touch these subjects, everybody gets quiet and like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. No, come on. Yeah, it's me alone. Yeah, oh, come on. It's me alone. That was sex education and sin to the max Friday after dark. Let's get straight here. I mean, this ain't no let's pretend, you know. If you know me, you know this ain't no let's pretend. You ain't got nothing to be ashamed of, you know, man. All right, things I did before, I do them no more. So what's wrong with you? Yeah, and HBO and all them kind of things, and I could go on and on. That was sex education for us, straight up. Many ones didn't have no father to teach them what it's all about, and even those who had fathers, whatever it was, the father just never brought up the subject. You just had to learn for yourself out there in the streets or in the club or even in the classroom. You just learn it somewhere. What am I lying? It hasn't changed. That's what's going on today. Some of us, we have children, don't we? So what, you're in a fantasy world? That's what's going on today. So if you're not teaching them what sexual intercourse is all about and the reality of it and hormones and emotions, well, you're in for a deep awakening, a rude awakening. You're in for a big surprise. So if I was you, I would get to it. Don't be afraid or ashamed to sit him and sit her down and let them understand what it's all about. No birds, no bees. Tell them about human beings. Let them know what you went through. Let them know the challenges you had and have. Even up to now, they ain't gonna tell nobody your business. At least if you got that relationship with them. You got to start there. Because if you're not telling them that, I'm sure you're not telling them nothing about the world of abortion. So when they go out there now and it's hanky-panky, and it's Dolly House, and it's the after party, and it's carnival, yeah, and it's prom night, yeah, and I'm going out to movies with the girls, yeah, and it's slumber party, yeah, and then she come home pregnant, yeah. Then all of a sudden now, if it's not pressure from one side, it's pressure from the other side, and sometimes it's pressure from her own self. Because of a society that has been created around her. You know, what should I do? Am I to throw it away? Am I to keep it? And all of that. And then there are many that have done 2 and 3 abortions and they're left infertile and left with many different complications, as you heard Dr. Everett there when she was speaking about this doctor that was doing some abortion and crushing the head and all them foolishness. You have to crush the baby head. You have to crush the baby head. When it's gone to a specific stage, what nasty, wicked, look, the thing is that. And they pulled out some of her intestines and all of that, and she died. They put it in her car because it doesn't look good to have an ambulance pulling up in front of an abortion clinic. And as I said, there's a whole spiritual activity that comes with this. You don't just murder people and get away. I don't care if the authorities never got hold of you. You don't just kill people and get away. Me personally, I don't even think you can kill animals and just get away like that. Killing is a righteous thing. Killing belongs to the righteous. So don't tell me a mosquito is an animal and yeah, well, this is righteousness. I ain't gonna make no mosquito come and suck my blood. I ain't gonna make no dog bite me neither. I'm telling you, if I got a stick in my eye, I whack it in his skull and I'll kill it. You won't try bite me? What are you talking about? Them is holy killing. And any other thing, any other weird thing around me, any cockroach, rats, any of them demons there, we gotta get rid of them. What do you think? What's wrong with you? That's right, just kill it. You know, but I ain't gonna kill no bird and partake in the killing of any animal. Whether you think it's for food or not, that's just, I don't know, I can't get into your world with that. But I know killing, and you're dealing with beings that have souls. You don't just kill. There are repercussions for such actions. You don't just kill. You gotta have permission from the holy atmosphere, the holy astral world to commit them act in the name of the Lord. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So I think everybody has permission to swat a fly. But you don't just get up and take a life in the womb. You don't know who coming out and you talking about for a little measly $300 or how many money, or whatever the amount you're getting. You have 30 and 40 abortions a day in one building. That's a horror house. That's the home of the devil, brother. There's nothing holy in that place. There's nothing that has to do with the Most High that is surrounding that place. This is what I'm saying. Remember, this is big business, you know. Remember the fetus and all of that is used to make makeup and lipstick and blush and all of that stuff. And other things that go into, what do you call it, vaccines and stem cell research and organs and building new organs and all sorts of stuff. You can't be just killing 40 babies a day. Hear what the lady was saying. They were looking to open 3 clinics in a matter of a month or whatever. And she was a millionaire by the end of the year. Some kind of talk. By killing babies, murdering babies. And you know where the central point is. The black community. The black community. So, because many would say, well, this is happening to everyone. Well, it may be happening to different type of people. But the point is, it's happening for different reasons. And one of the reasons is culling. Extermination, if possible, of a specific people. And that is the African people. So now this ain't just in the West, man. This is all over. What do you think? This is all over. So as I'm saying now, there's so many things that come with this. The spiritual realms. Anyone that's a part, I'm telling you, if you are a part of or have partaken of the abortion of a child, man, you may need to take a spiritual bath. Wash yourself with, some spiritual herbs, the kudja root and the soursop bush and the aloes. See, even the phone knows what's going on, the neem, and get the energy right and balance once more. Very, very important, because there is, a lot of spirit that goes with this. And that is just the reality of that. Because I said, whether you're the doctor, the nurse, the person that encouraged it, all of that, Because remember, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can revisit some of our videos we have on YouTube, where we talk about the whole ancestral realms. That specific video I did about communicating with the ancestors. That's what's the name of the video. I think it. Ancestral worship or something of the sort. That video specifically directly has to do with the whole aspect of, connection with the ancestral world and communicating even with, those that are here and those who are not here. So you should check that out. That definitely would be a must for each and every one to even comprehend that realm. So when it comes to the whole aspect of abortion again, even when you communicate, whatever part you may have taken in that, and even in the previous video, I showed you of the brother Gano Grills, and I was listening to an interview or a lecture that he was doing, and he was saying that the whole aspect of the whole aspect of an individual partaking even in abortion, there's a certain spirit that follows them. I said, wow, I've been saying that for a while, but I know he's a brother that deals with certain different levels of the mystics. You know, now I'm not saying this to scare no one, you know. I'm saying this to assist you. I told you what you could do to get off the energy and get like the marijuana leaf, create a warm bath. You know, the whole aspect of drawing the herbs. And of course, after drawing that bath, you wash yourself. It'd be good to touch yourself from head to toe. You know, I mean, it's the spiritual world. You don't gotta be afraid or run from nothing, man. The herbs are spirits. That's why they call them sattva. Sattva is a word that means spirit, sativa. All right. So in reality now, when we touched upon the whole aspect of exterminating the black race and exterminating the black nation that was previous strong, this was just one of the aspects that came up. Abortion, there were other things that we went into, even down to the water that you drink, down to the educational system, down to the music that you play. But this was one of the aspects that we touched upon, the whole aspect of abortion. So it's a subject that runs deep. It's a subject that has many different aspects and many different avenues. It is something that is within a system and has systems within that same one system as well. Planned Parenthood, eugenics, everything is still wrapped up into one. And the educational system and the entertainment system, I always have to bring them up, is geared at encouraging it. And they know that you do not have abortions unless you are pregnant, and you do not get pregnant unless you have sexual intercourse. So the whole concept of reproduction and mating and dating and all of that is construed and become obscured now to the sensible mind, and everything is confused, and we just work with our feelings and emotions and we sway from side to side. That's what's going on. So now when the young girl gets pregnant now, there's so many different things that are facing her, and not just young girl, and big sisters too. You know, and some people nothing really facing them, but it has just become a habit. The morning after pill business, the morning after pill, I mean, that is so sick. That is to show the thought wave, the morning after pill. So to some people it has become a lifestyle. So when the morning after pill or the night before pill doesn't work, and something goes wrong, and say, but hey, the pill expire, man, all right, we just gonna get an abortion. It's just like that. It's simple, it's easy. Get a 300, 400, how much ever it costs, and go and clean it out. And there are many sisters, again, that have become infertile through such, you know, and have many different complications because of the procedure. As the doctor was saying, even some of the doctors that come in to perform these surgeries, they don't really even care if the tools have been sterilized, have been washed, or anything of such. They were just interested in doing what they gotta do and collecting their money. Yeah. So give thanks, you know. As you can see, our time is on us. But it's a very serious subject area, and I hope it made much sense to the listener. And it's only a part of the battlefield that we're on, you know. This is just a drop in the bucket of so many different things that need a conscious and holistic and holy level of being addressed, talking about abortion and so many other things. You know, A lot of our sisters are being raped. And I think I said in the previous program, in all my consideration of abortion, which I do not check at all, that is the only question I would say that I would, I somewhat ponder. Because many a woman have been raped in a man by the most despicable of beasts all over the world, by the most despicable of nasty beasts, nastiest of beasts. And even before the term abortion was created, I am sure, because of hatred for their slave master, a woman when impregnated by the rape of the nasty one would stick something up in them to kill his seed. I am sure it has happened. I am sure it has happened. And that's an interesting situation. I'm sure that has happened in the West and in Africa. Raped by your enemy, by your slave master, by your conqueror, and left, and you see your belly getting big for him, for that night when he beat you up and raped you. I am sure many a woman said, I don't even care if I die, I'm going to take that out. I don't call that abortion, but that's something else. That's a different thing altogether. That's like it's in its own, that's not even a subset, that's in its own bracket. But what's happening today is totally different. It is a plot, it is well planned, it is well organized, it has its purpose, it's getting its benefits, and just like the pharmaceutical companies and all of this stuff, it's moving along. No matter how much people you see protesting and pro-life against no life or whatever it is moving along. We can only educate our own people to get out of that stream. Let them fight amongst themselves. It don't make sense you come and trying to fight and change the bill. I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But it's just better that you get out of that stream. Let us educate our own. Educate your children from early. Don't wait too late. And let them understand what life is about on all these different levels. Because you don't want to ruin your own, the life of your own. To go and take some surgery that will leave them barren for eternity. Yeah, because a lot of mental trauma goes with this as well, you know. A lot of people that have gone through this are mentally unstable. And we could go on and on, and on, and on. But give thanks. Remember definitely to get a copy of your book, Anu, Ancient and Modern Revisited. And the Night of the Black Tiger is definitely on the way. So many things happening. But anyway, if you know your Bible and you do not know your history, the knowledge of your Bible will become a mystery. And remember, it takes some real eyes to realize the real eyes that are amongst us. Salam ta.
Yes, I know flower is on the ends, representing the flames. Yo, the one after the Honorable Priest Isaac. Some boy if you know this. Hear me now. Antigua are the place where Priest Isaac dwell. Ancient Israel, ancient story fit tell. Yes, up a Lalibela where the monk them a dwell. With them mescal, them a broke evil spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Mystic vibration is an angel. And them nah go rebel. In a Zion where we dwell. When we broke for them spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Yes, he's my angel. His foundations in the whole mountain. Priest Isaac on the whole mountain. In black reverence on the whole mountain. Him chant a psalm on the whole of mountain. But never hesitate for yell the king. I take a Isaro Einin. So proud yes to be an offspring. Mystic vibration of the people them a sing. Angel, mystic vibration is an angel. And them nah go rebel. In a Zion where him dwell. When we broke for them spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Yes, him an angel. Priest Isaac is an angel. Mystic vibration is an angel. And them nah go rebel. In a Zion where we dwell. When we broke for them spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Yes, him an angel. Trot on the banks of the gully. Isaac trod it through the hills and the valley. Trod it through the town, through the bloody city. Highly, 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 always with we. Highly, 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 I protect we. Highly, 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 I would never leave we.
Subscribe to the Mystic Vibration Shock of the Hour program today and receive our nightly show immediately after each and every broadcast. This will be done via the email and will be found in your inbox. For the small price of only 50 United States dollars, you will receive almost 20 hours of raw information, knowledge, research, and scholarship on various subject areas and topics that are necessary to be addressed at this time. In addition, all subscribers will receive our monthly video lecture series, which has a value of 20 United States dollars. They will receive the video lecture for free that is related to the month that they are subscribing for. To subscribe, call or WhatsApp 1268-728-3162 or email priestisaac27@gmail.com. The Mystic Vibration is a program that airs every Monday to Thursday at 6 p.m. sharp Eastern Caribbean time on Radio Anu, radioanu.com.